Hello, I'm Dr. Troy Rand and welcome to our video seminar on improving performance. Alright, tonight's topic's, in my opinion, probably the most important topic because nobody ever talks about it. Okay, you can go to a gym, you can exercise all the time, all those kinds of things. You can eat the right foods all the time. But if you're doing those things and this piece is missing, then in my opinion you're not getting the benefit that you could truly be getting. Okay, this is truly where this releases you to your God-given potential rather than just living through life and just going through all the daily processes. So let's jump right in and get going. If you do have any questions as you go through, please write them down and email them to me. We'll give you all that information at the very end. Okay, so we're going to talk about improving performance. All right. Basically, peak performance is designed as a state of exceptional functioning. Okay, peak performance isn't just, yeah, I'm doing pretty good today. Peak performance is exceptional. Okay, not very many people operate at this level. All right, you have to look at your exceptional physical function. Okay, we all know people that are healthy; they never get sick. We slow the aging process down. They're flexible. They're mobile. They have endurance. They're strong. They can basically do whatever they want physically. Okay, exceptional mental function. They have an amazing memory capability. Usually their mental capacity is pretty good. Their mental acuity and their sharpness of their mind is right there. Okay, and these are lots of times the creative people because they have that room in their life because their body's operating at peak performance. Okay, so a lot of these things have happened to you before, I'm sure. So have you ever exercised like crazy and all of a sudden you hit this plateau and you can't ever get past it, no matter what you do? You change your routine, you change how you eat, you change your calories, you change how you exercise, all those kinds of things, and you just stay where you're at. Okay? We're going to explain how that happens and why that happens. And you ever exercise and ate like you were taught to, okay, and learned what you need to, and you just can't lose the weight you want. All right, we're going to discuss where that catch comes lots of times. All right, it's not what you think. It's not a dietary or a caloric thing or an exercise thing lots of times. It's how your body's processing the stress of the daily occurrences in your life. Okay, so basically there's some facts of life we have to get in order before we can move on and effectively discuss these topics. So we're created to be self-healing and self-regulating organisms. Okay, when God created us, He didn't say, oh, I'm going to let you heal yourself when you have this wrong with you, but if you get cancer, all of a sudden you can't heal yourself, so you're no longer able to. Okay, that's not how we were designed. All right, our nervous system is the master system and control of our body. Okay, when He created us to be that, have a system that would heal everything. Okay. Our nervous system is the master system in control of your body. If you don't have a nervous system that's functioning correctly, then it can't control your body correctly. So basically your nervous system's controlling how you heal and adapt, for sure. There's no doubts about this. This is all proof in scientific literature. There's autopsies that have been done on bodies after somebody died. The diseased organ, if they trace it back to your spine and your nervous system, you can see where the interference happened and why that organ malfunctioned. Okay, it's all out there. It's all scientific, but nobody looks at it anymore. Okay, so basically the conclusion that we have to make and understand is that if we interfere with your nervous system functioning, you interfere with the ability of the body to heal and adapt. That's downright basic level everything. Okay. If you interfere with how your body's performing, you can never reach peak performance. No matter what your diet's like, no matter what your exercise routine like, and no matter how organized your life is. Okay, so no matter if you're, if you live by our motto, be fit, eat right, and think well, even if you do those things and you don't improve your performance, you're not going to get to the level of that peak performance that we talked about at the very beginning. Okay. So we have a two-way communication in our body. All right. Have you ever wondered what happens when you walk into a cold room? Okay, we've all done it. We've all walked either outside or into a very cold room, and all of a sudden we get goosebumps. Why is that, and how does that work? Okay. The first question is how do you know it's cold? Well, you've sensed it through your nervous system how you know that it's cold, okay? And how does your body respond to the cold? Well, it gives you goosebumps to try and balance out the temperature difference from the outside to your body, okay? That's all part of your neurological control and your healing and adapting on a daily basis, okay? Basically, that two-way communication is what connects your brain and your body, all right? You have sensory nerves that carry information from the receptors in your body into your brain. That's what's sensing things. When you walk outside and it's 10 below zero, that's how you know that it's cold. Your body's sensing it, sending the information up to your brain on this green pathway, okay? And then your brain sends information down that motor side to actually make your muscles move so you can get going, those kinds of things, all right? The other thing here is you have an autonomic nervous system, which is what's on the outside here. Those are your sensory nerves also, okay? And then your brain's going to send a message out the other autonomic nerve out to your organ, and that's where the goosebumps come from, okay? That's why we have the motion to move when we're cold, and that's why we have the goosebumps, because of this pathway. This goes with everything, okay? So the autonomic nerves are very important. They're the ones that carry the instructions from the brain to your organs, the glands, the blood vessels. Basically all the information that you don't have to think about flows over those autonomic nerve pathways, okay? The important part is that everything's balanced and everything's working the correct way, okay? So we all have an immune system. This is what allows for peak performance to happen or not. If your immune system is not strong enough to get rid of the daily toxins and those kinds of things, then that's when you're not going to start to get sick and your performance is going to lack. Okay, so the immune system's a network of cells, tissues, organs, and systems that work together to defend the body against attacks and invaders. Okay, you can think of it, your immune system kind of as the bouncer at a bar or those kinds of things. They're the ones that keep all the bad stuff out. Okay, and once bad stuff's in the place, they're the ones that get rid of it. Okay. So we have types of immunity. Okay, we're not going to go into this a real long time just because we could talk about these kinds of things for a while. Innate immunity is basically what we were born with. This is what we were created to be able to adapt to outside stimulus and outside toxins, those kinds of things. So they're barriers like your skin, your mucous membranes, those kinds of things. That's what is innately in your immune system to keep you healthy and keep you functioning. Okay? We have adaptive immunity, which is when we're exposed to the antigens, the system remembers and creates the cells to destroy the invader. Okay? Chickenpox is a very big example of this. We all know that if you get the chickenpox, you're not going to get it again because your body's created those antigens. Okay? This is what occurs with chickenpox. Okay? Nowadays, though, our kids, well, not ours, but most societies, okay, because mine have all had the chickenpox except my youngest, have a passive immunity, okay, which is a temporary immunity that comes from an outside source, okay. This can also come from the mother breastfeeding the baby, which is very good. That's how the baby gets a lot of the antigens and a lot of the antibodies that allow the immune system to develop and to work the correct way, so that's why breastfeeding is so important. The other way these come is through vaccination and immunization, okay? It's a passive immunity. That's why they have to have boosters. That's why they keep increasing the boosters and all those kinds of things. All right? It's a temporary immunity. It doesn't ever last, okay? Chickenpox is another thing here, you know? I mean, just because the child has the chickenpox vaccine, now they're more likely to get it as they're an adult, and we all know that's much more severe. So this passive immunity is not a solution for long-term immunity and health. Okay, so we have to realize that. The vaccines don't solve any problems. Okay, if your immune system's working the way it's meant to, the innate and adaptive immunity will take over everything, and your body will develop those antigens, and it won't allow you to get sick again. My daughter was in a daycare room when we lived in Spain that they had a mumps outbreak in their room. She's never had a shot in her life, but her immune system worked well enough that she never got the mumps. Okay, so it's out there. It does work. Innate and adaptive immunity are the best ways for your body to and your immune system to develop, okay, and to function on a daily basis. So basically there's a new view out there. For a long time the medical community wanted to keep the nervous system and the immune system separated, okay, but they've actually came around to where everybody believes the same thing finally, that your nervous system and your immune system are directly connected. So if one's functioning correctly, the other one will function correctly. If one's not functioning correctly, the other one can't function correctly. Okay? So there, and you can see all the fancy things here, which we don't have the time or need to go through. But this thing up on top, this HPA axis, is by far the most important because that's your stress response axis. So it's all connected. Okay? So basically, the germ theory of disease. I just want to cover this real quick. Basically, if the germ theory was true, okay, we wouldn't be alive to live it. Okay, germs don't cause the people to die and to get sick and all those kinds of things. Okay, so basically, the germ theory is the number of organisms that's comprised of this, plus the virulence of the virus itself or bacteria or whatever. Okay, and if you take that over and divide it by the resistance, that's going to equal your disease. Okay, so if you have a super good resistance, it doesn't matter really how many and how strong those germs are, your body's going to be able to overcome it. That's basically what it says. Okay, and on really the guy that came up with the germ theory, Louis Pasteur, he said on his deathbed, the resistance is everything. The virulence of the host is of the germ is nothing. Okay, so he realized he messed up as he was dying, because it wasn't the germs that were killing him; it was his body shutting down because it wasn't functioning correctly. Okay, so here's some ways to actually sabotage your immunity. All right. First off is improper nervous system function. I think we covered that. If your nervous system doesn't function correctly, then your immune system can't function correctly. Stress is a big thing because it starts that HPA axis that I mentioned, that stress response. Okay? Food actually can stop your nervous system and your immune system from working the correct way because it causes a chronic inflammation inside your gut and inside your body lots of times. Illness will sabotage your immunity. Drugs and vaccines stop your immunity, in my opinion, because you don't have the inborn ability to heal and adapt and those kinds of things. You can exercise too much. If you exercise too much, your immune system can start to get depressed. Okay, my wife's a nurse, and when we were over in Spain, actually on her floor she was working on, they actually had some Marines come in that their immune system was attacking their body from excessive exercise. It happens. It's not very often anymore nowadays, but it happens. So you need to watch that. Excess alcohol will affect your immune system. Food additives, you just basically are decreasing your resistance because your body's having to get rid of those toxins in your body, especially pesticides and those kinds of things. All right. So stress and immunity. Stress causes the adrenal glands to release cortisol. That's what we're talking about, that HPA axis that we were talking about. It's the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. That's your stress response. Okay, so it's going to cause adrenal glands to release cortisol. Prolonged cortisol release will shut your immune system down. Pure and simple, it does. All right. The other thing it does is it causes us to get fat. It causes us belly fat and those kinds of things. All right. So it also causes your natural killer cells numbers to be cut in half during high stressful situations. Okay. Your natural killer cells are what's killing your cancer that's happening and killing those bad germs that are mutating and those kinds of things. All right. So we need those. White refined sugar lowers your white blood cell count. Okay. Polyunsaturated vegetable oils actually kill white blood cells. Okay. A high-fat diet actually is going to decrease your immunity also. Okay. White refined sugar is just bad all around. There's just not anywhere that it's good or appropriate or anything. Okay. Drugs weaken your immunity. Corticosteroids, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, antibiotics, immunosuppressive drugs, lots of those things are going to weaken your immunity. Okay, you know, and the one thing is a lot of people are undergoing cancer treatments and those kinds of things. You know, just because the cancer goes away, and then they're going to still put you on suppressive drugs to keep your immune system from not working correctly. I mean, the likelihood of cancer coming back is exponential, okay, because you're continually depressing your immune system so it can't get rid of what it needs to. So vaccines weaken immunity. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. We could talk an hour about vaccines and why they work and why they don't work. You know, if you look back in history, when vaccines were introduced, sanitation was introduced. All the diseases were going away when the vaccines started. The fact that our kids take 80 vaccines in over their lifetime is just ridiculous. Okay, there's no need for it. And basically, a German study released in September 2011 shows vaccinated children have more than 2 times the diseases and disorders than unvaccinated children, and perhaps 5 more times of certain disorders. Okay, it's just crazy. I mean, allergies is this one, and you have to look at the difference. I mean, that's just uncalled for, okay? And vaccines don't cause autism. It's the body not being able to adapt to everything all at once that's causing the autism, and the vaccines just trigger it all. It's called the perfect storm. Anybody has questions about that, call me and we can discuss how that all works and all those kinds of things, but I don't have time to go through that all today. I mean, vaccines weaken immunity. Even though they're supposed to strengthen it, they're not, okay? Because they're not allowing your immune system to develop the way that we were made to do that, okay? Your body has to fight things to get stronger. Exercise and immunity. Over-exercise, the macrophages and natural killer cells don't work as well, okay, and they don't communicate with the way they're supposed to. The levels of one of the most important antibodies in saliva and mucous membranes, IgA, drops dramatically. Okay, so things can't get fought off because all these levels are not where they need to be. Okay, alcohol, we know it kills brain cells. If it's killing brain cells, it's killing nerve cells all around. Okay, so no chemical signal means no immune or nervous system response. That's just the way it goes. Okay. Food additives, Splenda, sucralose, actually shrinks some of your glands. The thymus gland's actually an immune organ. Okay. Artificial colorings reduce the number of circulating lymphocytes. So you just have to stay away from aspartame and all the food additives and all those kinds of things. They're just not good for you, okay, in a lot of different ways. I mean, aspartame in particular has actually been shown to kill more brain cells than alcohol does, okay? And even Splenda actually was supposed to be the diabetic cure, you know, the best diabetic additive at a certain point to have your fake sugars and those kinds of things. But that's actually what they're finding is 95% pure sugar. So that's not even going to balance your blood sugar levels out and those kinds of things the way it's supposed to. And it's just as bad, in my opinion, as sucralose and aspartame and those kinds of things. So you want to stay away from that. Pesticides and immunity. Okay, I mean, if you're intaking toxins, it's killing everything. Your body's not able to deal with the way it's designed to. Decreases the ability of macrophages to kill cancer cells. Do you think that's important? I mean, cancer is the second leading cause of death in the United States. We need to find ways to increase our immune response and those kinds of things. So here's some ways to boost your immunity. All right, regular chiropractic care. I think we've already discussed the reasons behind that. We'll go into that a little bit more and actually show you some research behind that. The way you eat actually can improve your immune system, vitamin, minerals, herbs, probiotics. So basically supplementation is going to improve how your immune system's working, but not how you're thinking. Okay, we're going to talk about something new I haven't discussed with anybody yet, except the current patients I have coming in our office. All right, you got to make sure you get your exercise in daily. You got to get enough sleep. Laughter is a really good medicine. Meditation, prayer, journaling. Getting dirty is a big thing, and we'll discuss that. Stress management, yoga, and you need to detoxify, whether it's on a daily basis, once a year, however you choose to do it. We need to make sure we're continually detoxifying our organs and our body and those kinds of things. So, chiropractic boosts your immunity. Basically, the job of a chiropractor is to locate and correct subluxations. Okay, subluxations simply are a misalignment in your spine that's interfering with your nervous system function. Okay, like we showed in that picture, your brain sends the messages out to your body. Well, it has to do that through your spinal cord and through your spinal canal or spinal column. Okay, so if those bones are misaligned, those nerves going out to those organs can't function correctly. Okay, so basically, the chiropractor corrects the subluxation with a specific adjustment. Sometimes we use an instrument, sometimes we do it manually. It just depends on where we're at. Okay. Chiropractic adjustments all have the same objective: to remove the nerve interference so the body, including the immune system, can function at peak performance. Okay, pure and simple. I adjusted my daughter in the hospital when she was born because she was able to function at peak performance from the time she was born. Okay, birth trauma is exactly that. It is traumatic. It's not easy on the mother and it's not easy on the baby. So the more their body's functioning the correct way, the better life they're going to have. Okay, that's why we have a sign in our office that says chiropractic kids have an unfair advantage. Their body works at a higher performance level than everybody else, just because their body's functioning the way it's supposed to. Okay, so here's some pictures of your spinal nerves. Your autonomic nerves basically go out and they supply all your organs and glands and those kinds of things. Okay, we have our nervous system, which is the only system that's actually protected by bone in your body. Okay. That's how important it is. So subluxations are what damages your nerves. Okay, you have a structural subluxation, which is what a lot of people think about when they think about chiropractic. Basically, a bone's misaligned. It's going to pinch a nerve like a hose, and it's not going to function correctly. All right, that's really not truly what happens lots of times nowadays in our high-stressed lives. Really, what's happening is a functional subluxation, is what it's called, which is this one, which is basically a twisting or torque of the spinal cord, and it puts tension on the meninges and everything there. So the stretching or tension can decrease or completely block nerve signals to and from the brain. Okay, this is what we focus on in our office specifically, and not a lot of chiropractors do, but it's very important because this is what stress leads to, is that torquing and twisting of your spinal column. Okay. So the adjustment and immunity. Chiropractic adjustment to correct subluxation is a very powerful tool to maintain and restore the function of your body, okay, particularly the immune system. Here's a study actually done. 80% of children who had chiropractic care following their initial ear infection never experienced another infection over the period of a 6-month study. Okay. Ear infections account for 35% of all pediatrician visits in the United States. Okay. And I know some fellow practitioners that they've known people that have actually died because their kids had tubes in their ears and all those kinds of things, and the negative effects of that actually caused their body to attack itself, and not a good situation. Chiropractic helps your immune system so quickly, and with ear infections, it's such a quick process. I mean, I experienced this myself with my youngest when I was going through school, or with my oldest child when I was going through school. I mean, literally, he had a really bad ear infection. We only got adjusted the next day. It was drained, gone completely. Okay, so 80% of children. I mean, you have to look at those numbers. Medical doctors can't say 80% of people that come into my office are going to get better and it's never going to happen again. That's just unrealistic. In the chiropractic office, it happens all the time. In Emory University study, this is really interesting. Okay, this was actually focusing on HIV. All right, which is, as we all know, one of the worst things that your immune system has to deal with. So a study found that chiropractic spinal adjustments increase the CD4 immune cell count in HIV patients. This is somebody that their immune system's attacking itself and it's not functioning at a high level. Okay. Once a cell's infected by the HIV virus, it doesn't function as a CD4 immune cell, but as a virus replication factory. So once these cells are overtaken by HIV, they can't ever go back. All right. So, but through chiropractic adjustments, a 48% increase in CD4 cells was demonstrated over a 6 month duration of the study. How impressive is that? 48%. All right, that's pretty impressive when you're looking at HIV, which is one of the worst viruses you can deal with because medicine has no answer. Okay. Foods to boost your immunity: yogurt, grains. If you're going to eat a grain, it needs to be a brown rice, quinoa, those kinds of things. It can't be a simple carbohydrate. It has to be a complex one. All right. Garlic, fish, salmon, tuna, tea, oysters, beef, orange vegetables, mushrooms, green leafy vegetables, and broccoli. Okay, these are going to be to boost anything. I mean, these are just good foods all around. Okay, when you're looking at yogurt, though, you want to make sure you're looking at Greek yogurt. All the other stuff out there is not good. Okay. Vitamins, minerals, and herbs. Here's basically a list of the vitamins that we all need to have our body function on a daily basis. Okay. This one here is probably the most important one in my opinion. Omega-3 fatty acids. We can't get any in our diet, and we have to supplement it. That specifically helps your nervous system function better also. Okay. It gets rid of the inflammation, and it helps your body work the right way. Probiotics boost immunity. All right. Why would that be? That seems kind of odd. Probiotics are just germs that we put into our body and that are naturally in our body, and those kinds of things. Our body has good germs that actually is what's digesting your food and your colon and those kinds of things. All right. If we don't have them, our body can't function right. 80% of our immune system is in our digestive system. Okay. If your digestive system does not function correctly, then your immune system can't function correctly. Okay. This product down here on the bottom, this Orenda Ease product that we offer here, is by far the best probiotic digestive enzyme product on the market, period. Okay. If you put this in a cup of pudding, it will be dissolved within an hour, okay, into liquid. That's how strong the enzymes are and the probiotics are. Okay, so very good product. Exercise boosts your immunity. All right. Simple thing is your lymphatic system operates on muscular contractions. So movement is what gets the fluids circulating in your body. Okay, that's the only way that happens. So moderate exercise has been shown to increase the level of antibody response and the number of killer T cells. Okay, if you need help with exercise, watch one of our video webinars or our teleseminars, those kinds of things. Those are where you get the answers for that. We're not going to spend a lot of time. Enough sleep boosts immunity. Animals that sleep the longest have 6 times as many immune cells as those that take short siestas. Okay. In recent study, people were voluntarily infected with cold virus. Those who averaged less than 7 hours of sleep each night were 3 times more likely to get sick than those with 8 hours or more. Okay. So, level of natural killer cells decreased in people's blood, those kinds of things. I mean, you have to get your sleep. There's just study after study after study shows this. Laughter is one of the best medicines in my opinion. Okay? After you laugh, you increase the number and activity level of natural killer cells, T lymphocytes, immunoglobulin A, gamma interferon, and IgB. Okay, which is the immunoglobulin which helps antibodies to pierce dysfunctional or infected cells. Okay? Pure and simple. The more fun you have in life, the better the life's going to be and the better your body's going to work. Okay. If you ever want a movie to show you how much laughter really works, there's a movie called Patch Adams. That's what his medical treatment was for patients, was to make them laugh. And they got better and they stayed alive longer. Okay. This wasn't just some people that had high blood pressure or whatever. This was kids that had cancer, people that had major diseases that were killing them. And they stayed alive longer because of the laughter. Meditation and journaling. Meditation is just a huge thing in our society nowadays. We are so stressed and our body's under so much stress that you have to calm your brain and your mind at some point, otherwise it continues to go. Okay. There's a journaling study done. Writing for 10 to 15 minutes a day for several days straight gave a measurable immune system boost that lasted up to 5 months. Okay. So just simply writing down things, writing down your thoughts for the day, all those kinds of things. Yoga improves immunity. During a stressful exam, a group of 12 who had practiced yoga for 12 weeks showed a mild decrease in serum interferon numbers, while the non-yoga group showed a larger, more significant decrease. Okay, so basically the conclusion, the yoga group had a better immunity to viral infections under stress, okay, which is what we all want. So yoga doesn't have to be every day. It can be once a week, it can be twice a week, okay, but it needs to be practiced. Get dirty to boost your immunity, all right? Basically, with all our antibacterial crap and all those kinds of things everywhere, we're getting too clean in our body. Our immune system doesn't have to work hard enough, okay? So the cleaner everyone is, the less stimulation their immune system gets. So children that grow up on farms and exposed to all sorts of things have a better immune system and less allergies and asthma and autoimmune diseases than kids that grow up in the city. That's simply because they're dirty, their immune system works, all those kinds of things, all right? Detoxification, purification, it's kind of went through a little bit of shift here lately on what I really think. My opinion, your detox basically needs to be a daily detox. It's not something you do for 21 days and then you can do whatever you want after it. Okay, that's not very effective. So here's a great plan if anybody wants to do it. It's doable. You actually eat food, but the food you're eating is actually detoxing you while you're doing it. So it's if you've never seen the Hunger for Change movie, I would suggest going to there and watching the movie and then doing this plan. Okay, basically there's a website, hungryforchange.tv/articles 3-day detox plan. Okay. The other thinking I have is daily detox can be done through eating the right foods or juicing. Okay. My personal opinion, the easiest thing I found is we have a new immune product out that actually detoxifies your cells and cleans your receptors off your cells. Okay. That's what I found over doing different purifications and cleanses and those kinds of things. Just because you clean your organs, you're not cleaning your cells and those kinds of things. So the Sorenda protocol that we're starting to use with patients is getting phenomenal results, and this is part of the reason why, is because we're cleaning off your cell receptors and your immune system's getting balanced. So if you have an autoimmune disease, it's not going to stimulate your immune system, it's going to balance it out the way it needs to. And if you're sick, it's going to raise your immune system so you can get over it quicker. I mean, literally, one of our daughters took a couple of these and her nose stopped running immediately. It didn't take a long time for it to occur. It was, I mean, within 15 minutes, her nose stopped running. I mean, it's just that quick because it balances your immune system so quickly. And as we've been talking about this whole time, your immune system is what it's all about. If your immune system's not the right way, then your body can't function at peak performance. Okay. So basically, foundational nutritional support, you need some kind of multivitamin, multi-mineral, all right? You need tuna omega-3s for sure. You need a digestive support. You need an immune system balancer and cellular detox, okay? And then my other thing is we just started adding in some pituitary gland support because of that stress response we've talked about, that hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. If you're in that axis very long chronically, your pituitary gland quits working and it no longer works. Okay, so that's where this comes in to help support that and get that going the correct way. So, so my question is how well do you know your body's performing? Okay, we can only feel about 10% of how our body's performing. All right, you saw that chart with the sensory nerves. That, you know, 1/3 of that is all we feel. Everything else on how your body's functioning we can't feel. So obviously you have to test it. All right. We're going to go through these real quick. This is just some examples of scans and how we tested in our office. Okay, basically this was a patient of ours that came in when his total energy being used was 612 in his muscular system. Okay, this is a child. This isn't an adult. Normal is 150. Okay. So he was way overbalanced. His body wasn't working correctly. It was too active here. Didn't have enough activity there. Just not functioning at a high level. After some adjustments were made in his spine, his energy went down to 183. That number, that energy number, shows how well his body's functioning and how well his body's adapting to stress and to his environment and those kinds of things. All right. Just so happens this patient does have autism, so it's normal for us to see those 600 numbers when they first come in, and this is quite normal. It starts to balance their body out. They're just firing at such a high level that their body can't adapt to it. That's kind of what that perfect storm is referring to. Once we balance them back out, then their body comes back to where it should be. Okay. This year is a 14-year-old girl in high school. You would think that what 14-year-old's is not gonna have a properly functioning body and a properly functioning nervous system. Okay, but you can see this white dot's over here in the orange. All right, she's 14 years old. There's no reason her heart rate variability, which indicates whether she's stressed or not, is over there. Okay, so she's over in the stress response. So long term, you're looking at all kinds of issues, autoimmune issues, all those kinds of things, because that HPA axis that we discussed is already activated at such a young age. Okay, within 12 visits, this came back to normal. But once again, you don't know that unless you're testing it and you're getting it checked. Okay. So now you're probably wondering, well, I wonder if I have any of these, or I wonder if any of my kids have any of these. Okay, so why don't you stop wondering and why don't you find out is the question. Okay. I don't care if you come to our office. I mean, obviously I like taking care of people and I want to help as many as I can. The basic thing is you need to go to a chiropractor's office that's going to test your nervous system function. Okay, so we're here, we're the only ones, in all honesty, outside of Chicago that does these tests. Crystal Lake is the next closest chiropractor that uses these tests that we do. I know that for a fact. So you can drive that far, that's fine. Just find somebody that's using a subluxation station test and actually testing your heart rate variability. That's what I recommend. Okay. So basically we have a special this month that's just finishing out. So if you want to get involved and find out where you're at, you can do that. Basically we're knocking $150 off our initial exam fee. Our initial exam fee is usually $200. That includes your adjustment, your exam, your report of findings, and all those kinds of things. Basically for $50 you get to find out where your body's functioning and what level of performance you're at. So if you truly want to go up, we can help you get further than where you're at right now. Okay. So I want to thank you for spending the time with me and learning these things. If you have any questions, please email me at randfamilywellnesscenter@gmail.com. If you want to find out where you're at health-wise and those kinds of things, please call Elisa immediately. The special ends at the end of the month. So please call her right away. 815-234-2857, and she can get you scheduled for those checks and those kinds of things. Once again, thanks for joining me.